everybody. This is Frank Clifford, and welcome to another Frank Answers hosted by Astrology Hub. Now, I've got a couple of interesting questions that have been asked of me this time to do with the 12th house. So let me share with you my screen, and we'll take a look at the first chart. Now, this is from Sandra, and Sandra says, how do I work with the energy in my 12th house with Mars and Pluto there, and also Uranus and the North Node there? Well, probably the first thing to do is to think about that they're probably two very separate conjunctions. Mars, Pluto in Virgo is one area, and the Uranus North Node in Leo is another area. So let's think about the 12th house. It's one of those fascinating houses that I think astrologers get or some clients get anxious about, and astrologers certainly feel it can be a difficult place to have a placement. If we think of the diurnal cycle, the daily motion of the planets, planets rise into the 12th house, just as the sun rises into the 12th house, having been below the horizon in the first house for a couple of hours pre-dawn. So the idea of this house being hidden is a fascinating one, because it's actually where planets rise and become visible into the light. So it always fascinated me that, and I want to say more about that. I want to write more about that at a later date. But one of the things that I've noticed over the years with planets in the 12th house is that they're almost like daybreak. It's very, very young. The day has just been born, really. And so planets in the 12th are often very visible, just like the sunrise is incredibly, spectacularly visible to everybody. But the planets that we have in the 12th house are seen by everybody, but we're just in the early throes of experiencing them. So they're very obvious to other people. The energy might be very raw, having just risen and into the light above the horizon. And so there's a sense of 12th house planets being incredibly obvious to other people, but maybe not so obvious to ourselves. So planets there, we have to shine a light on, become a little bit more conscious of, because they may be areas of ourselves that we operate on a very instinctual level. So they may be areas of ourselves that we don't want to recognize, we don't want to see, and yet are very obvious to other people. So in Sandra's chart, that Mars-Pluto in the 12th, Mars-Pluto is fascinating because they're both planets linked to energy. You know, they're both planets linked to the idea of survival. Mars, the fight for survival, the hunter, and Pluto really so much about survival on deeper psychological levels, and also on wider generational levels too. So the Mars-Pluto combination there can be found in people who experience life very rawly, and experience situations where they sometimes feel victimized. Things aren't within their control at times. And when Mars is connected with Pluto, there's often a need to understand where the individual will ends and where the collective or things that happen beyond our control begin. So that's one of the big understandings of the Mars-Pluto, understanding what you can control and what you can't control. You know, the wisdom to know the difference, as the saying goes. So my experience of Mars-Pluto are people who are very have had very strong experiences linked to survival, linked to often sexuality, issues of sexuality, and issues of needing to create boundary, perhaps in that area too. It's an incredibly powerful combination where we want to utilize that for the greater good and also for your own personal development too. Mars is very much about trying to achieve our personal best. Pluto's more about always about the collective in that sense. So the Mars Pluto does have this need, this strong compulsion, Pluto, to be excellent, to do our very best, to make an impact on the world. Mars Pluto in the 12th house in Virgo, 12th house and Virgo both have similar themes in terms of service. Virgo is about the craft, and the 12th house is giving it to everybody. In that sense, sharing it with the world, sharing it with people who are disenfranchised, powerless. So the 12th house, of course, has links to prisons, hospitals, where we lose our identity, or we become part of a collective. Oh, they're in hospital, they're in prison, that type of thing. So the 12th house has those huge connotations there. On a more personal level, it is the area where we can, in a way, reach out to the world, give service. And with Mars Pluto there, it really is powerful service of transformation, ability to be totally dedicated. It feels like a Florence Nightingale type of service as a counselor, therapist of some kind, possibly. The sun in Cancer in Sandra's chart also, and Mercury in Cancer, the moon in Libra, point to wanting to be in the helping professions, exchanging information, helping people in some sort of way too. So the 12th house, I would say, dedicated, as I imagine Sandra may already be doing, dedicate that energy to a more spiritual path, if that's something you believe in, or at least give it to an area of life that needs your service. So whether that's a charity, a group of people who have been, as I say, disenfranchised, etc. But that Mars Pluto is a very powerful, indefatigable type of spirit. Now, the Uranus and the North Node are interesting because in many ways, we have, again, got used to thinking of the North Node in terms of spiritual, past life, karmic areas. And in fact, I like to follow Brian Clark on this, and I think of the North Node as an invitation to expand our inner world and our outer world too as well. So where we have the North Node is an invitation. We don't have to accept it. We don't have to gravitate towards our North Node and leave our South Node behind. Doesn't have to work like that. We're not better people. We're not bad people if we stay at our South Node. I don't think there's any sort of cosmic judgment. It is an invitation. The South Node is like a library of knowledge, a storehouse of your gifts, the things that you naturally know how to do. The North Node is a challenge. It's an invitation to conquer new horizons, to tap uncharted territory in our lives. So with Sandra, the North Node being in the sign of Leo along with Uranus is really about expanding the consciousness in that Uranian way, waking up to understanding the meaning of life, the vocation. And that might be helping other people do that. Leo is very much that creative energy that helps other people discover who they are and what they were born to be. Leo's greatest role is that of a mentor, rather than as the boss or the bully or the bossy parent or the pushy stage mother, whatever it may be. Really, at heart, the best job of Leo is to mentor people. And so there's the mentoring spirit of that North Node in Leo for Sandra. And Uranus being nearby says, do it with alternatives. Wake up to different possibilities, and I'm sure Sandra has. Wake up to things like astrology, to alternative ways of seeing the world in a clearer perspective. And Uranus being an outer planet always has a focus on the overall picture, what the community or the tribe has to say. And in a way, maybe Uranus in Leo is saying, let's look at the tribe, the group of people that all share something, and make each one of them special. So part of Sandra's journey, in some ways, helping people wake up to not only their role in society, that Uranian feeling, but also a Leo quality of being special, each of us having a special role in society. Okay, that's just a quick way of looking at both of those corners. Both the 12th house are both going to be perhaps evident in your life experiences, but there might be a little bit of a blind spot sometimes as well, being the 12th house. Just like when the sun rises, it's so magnificent, but dare we look at it straight away? It tends to be something that we might wait until it's risen a little bit more before we view it, before we get to observe and become conscious of it. Okay, let's take a look at the other example. This is from Dianne. And Dianne, in her message, says, I've got Mars, Pluto, and Saturn all in Leo in the 12th house. Am I doomed? I think that is Dianne's semi-serious question. I would say this is, again, a powerhouse, triple conjunction of energy, even though Saturn and Mars just are 9 degrees apart, but I would say altogether that is a powerful energy. What I would say, Dianne, is have a look at some of the people born around that time in your year, around April, May time of 1948. And also 2 years before, 1946 and 1944, again, when the Mars-Pluto was evident and Saturn was possibly nearby, but in earlier signs, you'll get a sense of some of the courage that these people developed, some of the self-belief and the confidence these people eventually developed. I say eventually because Saturn is in Leo, and Saturn in Leo's journey is very much about the attainment of courage and confidence, the 2 C's. And so I would say that often this journey is about defeating the bullies in life. Mars, Saturn, Pluto in Leo, saying no to the people that want to exercise control over us, and finding a creative way of being ourselves on our own terms. Now, in the 12th house, once again, that may be igniting other people's vocations, as we saw with Sandra, that sense of connecting to the zeitgeist, connecting to the people around our community, our tribe, and helping them through trauma, difficulty, and being of service to the greater good in that 12th house way. Or it might be that your journey has been very much about the father, because it's in Leo and it also squares the sun. This triple conjunction squares the sun in Taurus in the 9th house. It may be to do with being able to wrest back control from parental influence, parental viewpoints, bullying partners, bullying fathers, that type of energy that you might get with the Mars, Saturn, Pluto. At best, that energy again is the mentor, where you've had somebody who's really encouraged you to be confident, to be in yourself and comfortable with yourself. But often with these dynamics, it can be a start of the early expression of this can be more difficult in order for perhaps for us to learn and develop in different ways, and to learn how to empower ourselves and then later to empower other people. So I think, again, it's a very powerful combination here, but it's got a quality that it starts with gaining confidence, and with that confidence, hopefully comes a level of charisma and inspiration where you can be mentor for other people and be of genuine service. And I hope that rings true, Dianne. I certainly don't feel you're doomed. It certainly in some books could read like that. I think because the 12th house has such a negative reputation as the 8th house does. But you know that as I'm always saying, every placement, every sign, planet, house has a variety of expression or variety of areas in life that it's connected to. And you just need to go onto a place like astrodatabank.com and look up some of the people that you admire some of the celebrities, people in history. Look at their planets, look what they did against all odds, or look what they did to turn their life around. And you'll see placements that are so-called difficult ones or easy ones sometimes, and people have done remarkable things with that. So get inspired by your own mentors, Dianne, and other people watching. And yes, focus, if you can, on what people have done with these placements, what they've done remarkably well. Always inspiring to see other people's charts. You'll be surprised always at what people do with so-called debilitated or difficult positions. So I tend to ignore all those classifications and get to the heart of the chart of who that person is. So Dianne, it's a very powerful combination. And I hope you have felt that, you've come into your own in that way. The rest of the chart talks about being a natural teacher, a natural eternal student, lifelong student of ideas and books and all sorts of concepts. And you look like, the chart looks like someone who never stops learning. So I wish that for you, and I wish you all well. I will see you all soon. Take care of yourself.